I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
And I saw Eddie Murphy and Johnny Gill tongue kissing.
Baby, you better get a chair for this one because I'm about to leave you gagged. So do y'all remember that trans woman who mysteriously got unalived in her apartment just days after she was caught with Eddie Murphy in his car? Well, after years of Eddie denying being involved with her or having anything to do with her, the FBI finally revealed classified details of her murder. And it turns out that Eddie was allegedly involved, just like folks thought. Not only was this trans woman his secret lover, but he was also allegedly getting freaky with other men in the industry. And get this, he was the one doing the bending. Yes, girl. Mind you, he was married to Nicole Mitchell at the time and still letting other men and trans women bend and split his cheeks open anyway but loose in dark alleys and dodgy motels in the middle of the night. This sounds like something straight out of a Tyler Perry movie, but it's real, and baby, we are about to get into it real bad.
Things behind closed doors, like Eddie Murphy, who knows me very well. How well? Very well. And what hurts me about him is, if anyone was after this meeting, and it will be filmed, they asked me, what do you know about Eddie Murphy? I'm not interested in destroying his life. I'm more interested in destroying his wife's life.
This entire mess went down in 1997 when Eddie was pulled over by an officer at 4 a.m. with a 20-year-old trans woman, Unalived, sitting comfortably in his front seat. The media somehow got hold of the story, and they didn't waste any time putting it on blast. This was the 90s, so a black comedian with a wife and kids getting caught at 4 a.m. with a trans in his passenger seat was definitely enough to have everyone and their mama side-eyeing the hell out of Eddie. People accused Eddie of being DL, but as usual, he denied it. And when it came to why he had a 20-year-old trans in his car, he said he found her stranded while he was driving and decided to give her a free ride back to her house.
And I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells ET that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning. He says he thought he was aiding a distraught woman.
Looks like a pretty Hawaiian girl in the corner crying. It looks like she was crying. She goes, oh, Eddie Murphy. She noticed him at the light. She recognized Eddie Murphy. Oh, my God. So I go, what are you doing? Why are you out here working the streets so late? She goes, oh, I'm on my way home. Can you give me a ride home?
Police tailed them for 2 miles before pulling him over. Police say he is guilty of no misconduct, but there was a warrant out for the alleged prostitute. A judge has ordered that man, 20-year-old Addison Ciuli, to serve 90 days in jail. Murphy says he has often stopped to try to help prostitutes, but here is what he said in an impromptu news conference on the set of his new movie.
Being a good Samaritan blew up in my face, basically, what happened. And I'm never giving anyone a lift again.
Now, as I said, no one believed a word he was saying, and it didn't help that just days after this, Addison was found dead. Even though Eddie was never officially linked to her death, people have been speculating that he unalived her to stop her from coming out to tell us the real tea. Now, if that's true, Eddie wasn't as fast as he thought he was because the media got to her first, and baby, her story was very different from whatever Eddie and his team cooked up. So the National Enquirer decided to be messy by paying her $15,000 bail when she got arrested, and in exchange, she was supposed to tell them what really happened. The National Enquirer later published an article titled Eddie Murphy's Secret Life, and inside that article, Addison revealed that she was hanging by the roadside looking for men to take her home, as she usually does when Eddie drove up to her and asked her to get in. He then placed $200 bills on her leg and asked if she'd like to wear lingerie, to which she said, yes. Eddie then asked, can I see you in lingerie? And in her own words, she said, I told him whenever I have the time. He said, I'll make the time. And when she asked him what kind of sex he liked, replied, everything. Eddie ended up suing the National Enquirer for this article, and this only made things worse. As if all that wasn't bad enough, Nicole turned up dead, and as I said before, everyone was pointing at Eddie for unaliving her. According to reports, she was found dead on a sidewalk wearing only lingerie outside her apartment building. She had apparently locked herself out of her 5th floor apartment and tried to swing from the roof roof to her window on a towel and missed. That's what the reports say, but people had their own theories, and Eddie is right in the center of it. Eddie's ex-wife, Nicole, also later filed a divorce against him, claiming irreconcilable differences, and she walked away with a heavy settlement. She was given over $15 million, and at the time, this was one of the biggest divorce settlements in Hollywood history. Word on the street is the reason why he paid her that much money was because she had all the tea about his alleged DL relationships. Apparently, that $15 million wasn't just a settlement, it was hush money. Nicole was reportedly willing to still be with him after the whole mess with Addison, but after she turned up dead and people started pointing at him, she was out. Eddie pretty much stepped out of the limelight since then, but that didn't make the allegations slow down. In fact, more people came out about their alleged DL relationships with him. One of those men was a male called Flash, who revealed during an interview with Armin Wiggins that he saw Eddie and Johnny Gill passionately kissing at a party in Hollywood. He said Eddie and Johnny had each other tongues in their mouth, and everyone at the party just continued on unfazed. Apparently, it's a known fact within Hollywood that Eddie gets down like this, so no one was actually surprised.
The first party that I went to in Hollywood, it was after I did Coach Carter, and I saw Eddie Murphy and Johnny Gill tongue kissing.
Oh.
And this is like out in public, so a lot of the things that y'all think, they like, and they were going at it like for real, like swallowing tongues. So
Eddie never responded to this allegation, but Johnny sued, and baby, he wasn't having any of it. He denied all of it and called Flash a broke court chaser who's just saying exactly what he knows will get people to tune into him. He even went as far as threatening to sue him if he didn't come back and retract the allegations he made. He said, "Ann's been carrying that old tale stupid rumor for years. It's another thing to lie on me to say you saw me do something that I ain't ever did to no man." Right after this mess, another trans insider in the industry came out and accused Eddie of allegedly sleeping with a bunch of trans women and gay men.
Behind closed doors, like Eddie Murphy, who knows me very well. You know, how well? Very well. You know, and what hurts me about him is, if anyone was after this meeting, and it will be filmed, they asked me, "What do you know about Eddie Murphy?" I'm not interested in destroying his life. I'm more interested in destroying his wife's life.
Now, let me just remind y'all that these are allegations that folks are making against Eddie, so you need to take it with a grain of salt. However, they seem to be really convinced that this man is gay and has a whole second life where he freak-offs with trans women all day long. One person said, "Child, it was so real between them that at one point Eddie moved Johnny into his guest house while his wife and kids were in the main house. It's no coincidence he married a woman with strong facial features that could be considered gender fluid." Another person said he had been busted in the area picking up prostitutes before. The cops only gave him warnings because he was Eddie Murphy, but he kept going back, so they busted him. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of Eddie allegedly sleeping with that trans woman? And do y'all believe he and Johnny had a thing? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.